This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love song. So that mama call me. Tengo sus noches y su pasión.
You're listening to the Emerald FlowShow on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 19 of the Emerald FlowShow. We're part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. You can follow us on Twitter at Emerald FlowShow, and we are available on all major podcasting apps. If you are on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. And if you're feeling really generous, you can go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate and donate to the show. I'm Gerard here with Paul Vosh. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing fine. I'm actually looking forward to going to Ireland on Saturday, which is where I'm actually going to be joining you for the next episode.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
I'm going to be there for 2 whole weeks.
Is there any wrestling in Ireland while you're there?
Unfortunately not. So I actually talked to Lee, host of the Days of Thunder on the award-winning Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. And he said actually that there is a show kind of the day that I'm leaving. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So before we start, Paul, I have a question for you. Who do you think's more unprofessional, Jake Lee or CM Punk?
Well, as far as I know, Jake Lee didn't bite anyone or throw a chair at anyone or knock anyone out in the All Japan locker room. So I think it's very easy to say it's going to be CM Punk.
Well, let's see if Jake has anything else to say about the G1. Maybe he can shoot back up the rankings.
I mean, maybe if he finally meets up with Tanahashi in person and he just immediately starts throwing punches. I think in that case we can definitely say he's on that same level. But here's the other thing. Do you actually think Jake Lee would throw punches?
Well, I mean, he's got MMA training, much like a certain Phil Brooks.
Oh, okay. That's true. He did try to go into MMA. I mean, they're probably about as, on the same level as fighters, right? I don't think Jake would be, a good fighter. Wait, did he actually have any professional fights?
I can't remember. But I think
he definitely wouldn't make it to the UFC. So.
No, or even Deeper, one of the bigger MMA companies in Japan.
Let's see, does he have a Pro Fight DB?
I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to be more successful in MMA than CM Punk, considering Jake, was still pretty young when he entered in it and everything.
Maybe. I mean, you would say, but I mean, he made it to UFC, so.
Yeah.
We don't really know what CM Punk's actual MMA record would be because he just went straight to fighting the best MMA fighters in the world. We don't actually know what he would look like against just an average fighter in a lower league, which is obviously where he's realistically, if he wasn't CM Punk is where he would have fought, because we had people like Batista, for example, fought like a complete bum or whatever in MMA, but he beat him. So I would assume maybe that Punk could beat someone like that, and I would assume maybe
Lashley had
Lee
quite a
would
few
beat
wins in
someone like that.
MMA too, didn't he?
Lashley, yeah, but Lashley actually fought in like Bellator. Like
Oh,
Lashley
right.
fought in an actual professional league. So Lashley is actually a genuinely good fighter. So we know that much, but here's the thing. Okay, who do you think would be better? Who's a better fighter, Kendo Kashin or Jake Lee?
Ooh, that's a good question. But wasn't Cashin's win over one of the Gracies, or one of the lesser Gracies, I should say, like a sort of like a banana peel thing?
Yes. No, New Japan made him the top junior in their promotion because, like, the Gracie's leg gave out because he was kicking Kashin's ass so hard. He was literally kicking him and then ripped his leg apart, and that's how Kashin won.
This is a trend among successful, quote unquote, successful pro wrestlers who do MMA. They get these big banana peel wins.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Fujita was actually a genuinely good fighter, but again, his win against Shamrock was because Shamrock's corner stopped the fight because Shamrock was about to have a heart attack because he just kept on beating on Fujita.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, I think it's very easy to say that Fujita is a better fighter than any of them.
Oh, for sure.
Also feel confident to say that Fujita would absolutely beat Punk's ass very easily.
Yes, definitely. Well, maybe Tony Khan will have to borrow Fujita to keep the locker room in line.
That would actually be hilarious, and I also think he would very much be able of doing that. I actually would love to see like Fujita just like. I think he could probably single-handedly fight like Punk, Ace Steel, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega at the same time, and probably win.
Yes, definitely. And before we get to the main topics this week, unfortunately, we got some really sad news on a number of fronts. First of all, just feel so bad about this. Just best wishes to Joe Doring and his family. He's stepping away from wrestling again because his brain cancer has returned. He originally had it in 2016 and made it back into the ring and within like a year, which was really, truly impressive. And I know he's got a family with some young kids, and he was scheduled to face Jake Lee at the Budokan. So just so sad. And best wishes to Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Best wishes to Joe. I'm confident that he's beaten it before, so I think he's gonna beat it again. Like, it just seems that kind of person that like just refuses to give up, and that's always really helpful. And if he gets like the right medical care and everything as well, like I think he can beat it again. I think Impact is it Impact or is it Scott D'Amore himself that is like all of the proceeds of like Joe's shirts like go to his medical bills right now?
I don't know that actually.
Yeah, I think I saw like a tweet like that where I think Scott D'Amore talked about it. So yeah, if you want to look that up, like I think you can find it somewhere on like Scott D'Amore's like Twitter profile where he talks about like I don't remember who's selling the shirt, but like it's a Joe Doring shirt and all the proceeds go to Joe's medical bills basically.
Mm-hmm. And then also Genichiro Tenryu was hospitalized. From my understanding of the translation, that there was a very major spinal issue, although that got stabilized. And I believe he is still in the hospital, though. And he's had a number of health problems over the past couple of years. And his wife passed away earlier this year, I believe. So, again, best wishes to him.
Yeah, I definitely got like massive Misawa flashbacks when I saw kind of the outline of the injury, basically, because it did sound kind of similar. Where
yeah, it's basically
like,
spinal cord wear and tear.
Yeah, where it's like basically like you just take one like wrong fall basically, and like you just die, which is I mean, that's what happened to Misawa.
Yeah,
where he just like his spinal cord just disconnected, which is really scary. So I hope that whatever damage was there was like stabilized, and they put something in that basically he won't just like die by like sitting down wrong.
Yeah. And finally, Ren Ayabe is off of all the All Japan shows in September with a collapsed lung. I know, don't like tall, lanky people often get collapsed lungs? I believe that's like a thing that happens.
It can definitely happen. It's also something that, for example, happens when you get a rib injury. That can happen too. I know that happened to Drew Brees, the football player, a few years back, where he got like a rib injury during a game, and then also had a collapsed lung because of that. So, yeah, I think he'll probably be fine. Like it's definitely a thing that sounds really scary and can be really scary, depending on where it happens. But I think in this case, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's probably got like medical attention and everything.
Yeah, so. He's in the hospital and everything, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know really. Like Drew Brees was on the field relatively quickly again after that, so I would actually expect Aoyagi to be back relatively quickly. Like he's also still young as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we move on to a Pro Wrestling Noah and their N1 victory. We got the final 3 shows here. So the sort of night 7 was on August 27th at Nagoya International Conference Hall, and they drew about 559 fans, which I don't think that's that good in that building.
559? No, I think it's also down from what they drew there previously. But yeah, it's not a super great number. I think they've actually drawn worse there though. Like I think they actually had a show where they drew like 450 people, something like that. So it is actually up from that, but there's definitely still like room to grow as well.
Definitely. So in the first N1 victory match of the show, Keno defeated Anthony Green in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Didn't have much to say about this, and we'll sort of go over like how everybody performed later. But like, I thought it was a perfectly good little match from the both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this was solid. Yeah, I thought this was just solid. It was fine. Not very memorable though.
In the next block B, Masa Kitamiya defeated Kinya Okada in 6 minutes 9 seconds with a stretch muffler hold. I thought this was actually pretty good, just a little too short. And I always love a match that ends in a stretch muffler.
Yeah, I thought again, Kitamiya continues his hot streak in this tournament. I think now that the whole tournament is through, I think looking back at it now, I think he really is my MVP for the whole tournament because he just had really good matches up and down the card, but. Yeah, no, this was solid, and unfortunately, Kenya's kind of last full match in the tournament, but we'll get to that later.
And then in A block, Hideki Suzuki defeated Hyo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in 12 minutes and 46 seconds with a European clutch. It was fine, nothing spectacular. But
yeah, this was basically every Wagner match in the tournament.
Yeah. I just felt it almost felt like Hideki was going through the motions with the mat work early on, too.
Yeah.
He was not certainly trying his hardest there. And then in B block, Masakatsu Funaki defeated Jack Morris in 8 minutes and 44 seconds with the hybrid blaster. I thought these guys sort of meshed pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah. I mean, Jack Morris kind of continues his streak, having instant chemistry with guys. So, and he definitely dragged a better match out of Funaki than other people have in a tournament. So
for sure.
Good job out of him there.
And then in A block, Kazuyuki Fujita defeated Misaki Mochizuki in 8 minutes and 43 seconds with a face kick. It was sort of good while it lasted, but poor Mochizuki made to look like a chump. He had to get in the tournament with, Fujita just pinning him with a foot on his chest or kneeling on him.
It was actually interesting again, how the way Mochizuki was booked in this tournament, especially because, as we now know, or as we're going to talk about later, the Dragon Gate and Noah relationship is only going to grow, so I would expect Mochizuki to still be in Noah going forward, but yeah, he just really kind of got just lost against everyone, basically.
Mm-hmm. Although it wouldn't surprise me if Mochizuki specifically, even though they're going to continue to work together, sort of gets downcycled out of Noah, though, in favor of, the other guys or other guys.
I mean, to be fair, because the relationship is mainly between, the Noah Juniors and Dragon Gate, and Mochizuki is the only one that is classified as a heavyweight, basically, out of the people that have come in from Dragon Gate.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And then next up in B block, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Takashi Sugera in 19 minutes and 30 seconds with a Shining Wizard. It was good, although it still felt like it was lacking something, sort of like some of the other Sugera matches this tournament. Like, they're good, but they just sort of didn't have that sort of spark. And then in this set featured yet another Shining Wizard spam ending from Kiyomiya, which I will talk about more later.
Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna have some talking about that specific aspect of Kiyomiya's game right now. Yeah, like I said, it kind of continues the streak of disappointing Segura matches. Basically all I can say on this. And
then in A block, Go Shiozaki defeated Masato Tanaka in 15 minutes and 54 seconds with a go-on lariat. Yep, this was pretty good. Not quite saying it was great, but another good performance from both men. Tanaka still using lots of mat wrestling in this tournament, even against like guys that you don't think of as, mat wrestlers, which is sort of cool to see. And I really dug the strike battle towards the end of the match. So yeah, still like definitely in the upper tier of the matches this tournament, although not quite the highest tier.
Yeah, for me the problem is with the Tanaka mat work is that he's not very good at it. So, it's interesting to see that he's kind of mixing it up, but I also don't think it's really his strong suit. So, but I definitely like kind of the closing stretch of the match was really good.
And now in B block, let's take a trip back to 2006 All Japan, where Kazuhiko Nakajima defeated Satoshi Kojima in 24 minutes and 44 seconds with the vertical spike. This is Nakajima's first ever singles victory over Kojima, actually. So that's sort of a historic moment. I think this was pretty good, but I thought the last few minutes didn't feel particularly dramatic, and Nakajima sort of was too dominant, and I sort of thought either Nakajima's going to win or like Kojima's going to get hit a lariat out of nowhere and win.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by the match structure here. As you said, Nakajima was just incredibly dominant, and I was just waiting for the Kojima comeback and win, because it was just, and then it never really came. Nakajima just beat him basically. Especially considering who these two are, it's interesting that they went with that match structure, but I also feel like it would have been better if it had been more of a back and forth rather than just Nakajima beating Kojima's ass for 25 minutes.
I guess you could see it as like a story of, Nakajima has finally grown up and is not like the, teenager anymore type thing, I guess.
Well, I mean...
Well, yeah, okay.
Given what happens on the next show, I don't really think we can say that Nakajima has grown up.
Well, he hasn't. His age has increased, I suppose.
Yes.
So that is all in the Nagoya show. So we move on to August 28th at Colts, Kawasaki. 825 fans. I think that's sort of decent. I don't think this venue sort of holds... I think it might even hold 1,000 max, if even that.
Yeah, I actually tried to find shows, and they were less than I thought they were in there, but no, this was actually kind of in line with what other promotions have drawn here, so that was a solid number.
Yeah. So in the first and one match of the show in A block, Masaki Mochizuki defeated Anthony Green in 9 minutes and 46 seconds when he sort of did a cutback cradle. I thought this was Green's actually best match of the tournament.
I thought this was really good. It's interesting though that all of these Green matches have been incredibly short.
Yes.
Not incredibly, but comparatively short, because how many of them went even above 10 minutes?
Not many. Do you think they're still gonna keep him as a junior? That's why, maybe?
Maybe, because that's basically the way he talked about it. Because he cut that promo on Hayata and then was announced for the N1 the next day.
Yeah. And he's I know he's a skinny guy, but he's 6'2". He just looks so out of place against the other Noah Juniors. Because the Noah Juniors are small, some of them.
Yeah. I guess, how tall is Kotoge?
5'9", 5'10".
So he would be even taller than him. Yeah, that would be kind of weird to keep him as a junior, but the way they've booked him here, as you said, it's not quite clear if they're actually going to make him a heavyweight going forward.
And then in the next match in B block, Jack Morris defeated Masa Kitamiya in 11 minutes with a shooting star press. I thought this was another good match. These guys have both been highlights of the tournament for me, but Morris almost Brock Lesnared himself on that shooting star press. It didn't look quite as bad as Brock's at WrestleMania 19, but it was close.
Yeah, no, that was definitely not great. So hopefully either he gets to show off that he can do it properly. Hopefully he gets another chance to show off that he can do it properly, because this was definitely one of the few missteps that he had in a tournament. But I think other than the finish, the match was really good, though.
Yeah, it seems like you need to if you're doing these sort of high risk moves, you need to do them often, because when you pull them out once in a while, you're more likely to botch them.
Yeah, because didn't people say that Lesnar wasn't just doing shooting star presses in training? He was actually doing 450s or whatever.
I watched videos of him in dark matches before he SmackDown, before he debuted on the main roster, doing shooting star presses, and they looked effortless.
Yeah. So I think, to be fair, he didn't really get that many chances to show it off because he didn't win that. Well, he actually won a fair decent amount of matches. But yeah, it's definitely a thing where you need to do them regularly to do them well. So that's probably something that he needs to do. But I think these two were really kind of the standouts for the B block for me, which is interesting given that's really not what I expected when I looked at the lineup of B block originally.
Oh, for sure.
That these two would be coming out of it as basically the best performers of the block and of the whole tournament in a way.
Yeah. And then we go to A block, where Hyo Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated Masato Tanaka in 11 minutes and 37 seconds with the Wagner driver. I would say actually another mid-match from Wagner. It was good, but again, nothing spectacular.
No, yeah, it was yet another Dr. Wagner Jr. match.
And then we go to B block. Masakatsu Funaki defeated Takashi Sugera in 57 seconds with the Dujime sleeper hold. They hit each other really hard in the 57 seconds that this match lasted.
No, I actually loved it. I actually had to go back and watch it because I actually just I think I went to the kitchen to get myself a glass of water, and then because I was okay, the match is starting off, let's just quickly get a glass of water, and then I hear the ring bell for the end of the match, and I was what happened here? So I had to go back and look at it again. I was
were you
that's
did
nuts.
somebody knock somebody out?
Yeah, I was genuinely confused what just happened, and knocking someone out, right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe that will happen as well. It's actually unfortunate because actually I think this match kind of got overshadowed by that other match because of that. Yeah. So, but I definitely love the finish of this one more because it was actually intended.
So at this point in the show, there was a captain's fall match that was Hayata Yoshinari Ogawa, Yuya Susumu, and Kai Fujimura versus Nosawa, Rongai Eita, Kotaro Suzuki, and Super Crazy. But that went to a no contest in 8 minutes and 40 seconds because Chris Ridgway interfered, and he's back, as we'll talk about. So that was cool and good to know and see. Yeah,
no, that was really cool to see, and also a great way to
why did they
bring
go
him
to
back.
Why did they go to the trouble of announcing this as a captain's fall match if they were just going to have a no contest?
Because I don't know. Because Nosawa likes his captain's fall, he likes his wacky stipulations. Basically.
And then we had in A block, Hideki Suzuki defeated Go Shiozaki in 15 minutes and 13 seconds with a double arm suplex. I still thought this was pretty good. I even thought that they could have gone a few more minutes. Although, I have in my notes here, did you think Suzuki ate up Shiozaki at some points in this?
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like for me, and that's why I thought Shiozaki was winning this match. But then Suzuki just beat him. And at this point, I kind of had the math crossed in my head, basically, where I thought that Fujita was going to win the block, but at this point, he was eliminated, basically.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it was actually just Suzuki and Keno were the only people that could win the block. So when Fujita later beat Keno, I actually thought Fujita had won the block until he bowed to Suzuki and became clear that Suzuki had actually won the block.
And then next up, we'll have a lot to say. In B block, Katsuhiko Nakajima defeated Kinya Okada by referee stop after he hit a PK right to Okada's jaw and broke it. And, look, this was obviously an accident again because, Nakajima, realized what's happened and just hey, are you okay type thing. But not a good look, though, for this to happen again.
No, and yes, it was an accident. But again, these accidents only seem to happen to him. That's the thing. He's work. I love wrestlers that work stiff. I think that's great in general. But this doesn't Kano works stiff, and this kind of stuff doesn't happen to Kano, right?
Yeah.
So Shibata works stiff, and this kind of stuff doesn't happen to Shibata. So, but it keeps happening to Nakajima.
A lot of people in this company, including some grizzled veterans with some questionable reputations, still haven't knocked out people.
Yeah. So, again, it's an accident, but if it's an accident that just keep on happening to the same person, and maybe that person needs to kind of adjust their style a little bit, or needs to change something to make it less likely for these kind of accidents to happen.
Yeah.
And maybe then don't go you can still give a stiff running kick to the guy's chest, but it doesn't need to be delivered at a velocity that if it goes awry, it breaks the guy's jaw.
Now, to be fair, Okada did blow a O'Connor roll
Yes,
seconds before. So it's possible that he wasn't in position or whatever, but I don't know. I felt like Nakajima still had he took a couple of steps before he unleashed that kick.
Yeah. And again, just based off of you, just because you blow an O'Connor roll shouldn't result in you getting your jaw broken.
Yeah.
Even if it's an accident. It's just because you screw up a very basic move that because otherwise there's really no way to break your jaw on that. The only way you can break your jaw on that is if the other guy just kicks you in the face, which is what happened here. So yes, it is an accident, but I'm still this also now Nakajima also has a reputation. Yeah. This is the third time in 2 months, basically.
Yeah, the Katoge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when was that presser with the Katoge slap?
That was right before Cyberfight Festival.
Yeah.
So basically, that because that's why I thought at first that the slap to Endo was actually supposed to be a part of the match. That's why I didn't that's why it took me a while to realize that actually no, he had actually knocked him out, simply because he actually did knock Katoge down at the presser just before the show. So that was back to back basically, the Katoge slap and the Endo slap, and nothing really happened since then, and now this, but again, it's still within relatively quick succession.
And I am pretty convinced that Okada was winning here.
Yeah.
Because by winning this, Nakajima knocked out Kojima.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it took kind of the suspense out of the main event essentially.
So basically, Kojima could only act as a spoiler against Kiyomiya, but couldn't go through because Nakajima had the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So, obviously now that Kaito won and everything, Nakajima got lucky here that he didn't fuck over the intended finish.
Yes.
Because what were they going to do if they actually wanted Kojima to move on here?
Yeah.
So
sure.
that was lucky that Kaito always was the plan, so that he didn't fuck anything up here. Besides obviously breaking his fucking breaking his opponent's jaw, but he didn't fuck up any other plans there. So, but yeah, I don't know. To me, this is really kind of it's just he needs to change something basically.
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about Nakajima a little more later in an upcoming match that was announced, and we can see if that is connected to this in any way.
I don't think so, because that's a massive main event. That's not something you do as a punishment.
Yeah, but spoiler alert to what we'll talk about later. He's doing the job in that match, though.
Yeah, he is, but he's still in the main event.
Yeah, I guess. And then we go to A block, where Kazuyuki Fujita defeated Keno in 19 minutes and 4 seconds with a power bomb, and that knocked Keno out of the tournament. I was very disappointed in this. I think this was actually one of the worst matches in the tournament. Like, I don't know. I was expecting a lot more from these two, and that was what it was, and I was just disappointed.
I don't think it was that bad, but it definitely underwhelmed my expectations. I hope, because obviously now that Fujita beat Keno, like is he going to get a title shot? That's the other thing, like, because
yeah,
I think maybe let's talk about that later after we preview kind of upcoming shows.
Oh,
but
we also need to talk about Fujita's big dick.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part. Like that's like, I don't think it was like the worst match, but it was just like the structure of the match was kind of baffling because they built it around Fujita's dick. And like that was. Yeah.
And then, did you see the video that Keno posted?
Yes.
So Keno is sitting in the driver's seat of a car. So someone's in the passenger seat filming this, and he's talking about how like Fujita has a big dick because he just kicked him in the inner thigh, but then kept hitting his dick.
Like, if the whole CM Punk thing hadn't happened, I would have said that this was like the most unhinged promo that I've seen over the last 2 weeks. Because it's just Keno in the middle of the night just ranting at his cameraman about Fujita's massive dong. And then they built the match. Like, that was the weirdest part because, yeah, as you said, Keno just keeps kicking Fujita in the thigh and Fujita falls down and holds his crotch. And that was literally...
And the kicks looked nowhere near a low blow.
That was the focused part of the match, basically. Like, he kept working over Fujita's dick. And then Fujita beat him, like, with his fucking penetration pin, like, which makes this even weirder.
Do you think that this is some sort of rib that they were pulling on everyone?
I mean, it has to be, right? But why do you do that in the fucking semi-main event of the final N1 block night? I mean, why not, I guess, but...
Well, it's Fujita. He'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
But... And, in the main event that it all came down to, well, sort of, in B block, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Satoshi Kojima in 17 minutes and 6 seconds with the Shining Wizard. I thought this was really good. They got the crowd into the near falls at the end, and there was a attempted spamming of the Shining Wizard again, but actually what made this a little more interesting is that Kojima actually countered it at one point.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. I think it was definitely a fitting kind of end for the block nights, I would say. And yeah, like the fact that Kaito actually moved on was the right decision as well. But then after this, kind of we had because let's talk about that now before we talk about the match itself. So kind of once you kind of knew that the final was going to be Hideki Suzuki versus Kaito Kiyomiya, who did you think was going to win that match?
So I was 60-40 on Kaito, but I had convinced myself of a narrative that made sense for Hideki to win. Hideki wins, and then Keno runs through the shooters in the fall, like facing Hideki and Fujita.
Yeah.
And then you do Budokan, Keno versus Kaito.
Yeah, because what I was also thinking or what I was hoping maybe what they were going to do is that Kaito gets all the way to the final with like all of this like Shining Wizard spamming and everything, but then he gets beat there and he needs to kind of like readjust. Because I'm not a fan of Kaito wrestling like Muto 2.0. Like I don't want him to wrestle like Muto 2.0. I don't want him to be Keiji Muto 2.0. I want him to be Kaito Kiyomiya 1.0.
Yep. Well, we'll talk about that in. I thought the finals. I thought there was a sort of interesting thing about that. So we go to the N1 Victory Grand Final on September 3rd and Osaka Edion Arena number 1, 2,988 fans. I would consider that successful because that's like barely less than what they've been drawing at Budokan.
No, I think this is actually a really good number because it's right in between what New Japan drew for their G1 shows. Because they ran 2 G1 shows in there, back to back.
Yeah.
And their number is like right in between those two. because I think the first one drew like 2,800 and the other one drew like 3,100, so they're like right in between there. So I think this is actually like one of their best numbers that they've drawn in a while, simply because it is actually comparable to New Japan, which I think you have to count as a success.
For sure. Now, how much of this do you think comes down to Muda?
I think that definitely helped quite a bit to have that final like Muda match in there. But I think I would actually say that like just having the N1 final in general probably helped as well.
Yep. Well, I mean, all of their finals have been in Edion number one, I think. So, yeah. So I guess we'll just go through the whole show quickly. Hajime Ohara defeated Super Crazy in 9 minutes and 33 seconds. Nothing to say about it. It's a super crazy match. Jack Morris and Daiki Inaba defeated Anthony Green and Stallion Rogers in 8 minutes and 59 seconds with a Tiger Driver from Morris on Rogers. I thought this was a nice little match, but also coming out of this, Noah posted a video and Morris made it sound like him and Daiki Inaba formed a tag team, and I think that's a nice little combo.
Yeah, that's actually a cool thing. Gives both of them something to do after the tournament. So, yeah, I hope they get a title challenge, because that actually could be like Suzuki and Thatcher versus Inaba and Morris. That could really rock.
Yeah, because Morris is going to be on the next tours, I think, through October.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So definitely enough time to like build to something there. And I would very heavily assume that he's going to be back at some point after that even. They
seem to like him.
Yes.
And that's good. And then Atsushi Kotoge, Yohei, and Seki Yoshioka defeated Hayata, Yuya Susumu, and Kai Fujimura in 13 minutes and 13 seconds. I thought this was a pretty good junior six-man, although it slowed down when Susumu was in the ring.
Yeah. Just a solid match. Nothing really much to say here otherwise. It's actually for the first 3 matches. I was kind of like going in and out of watching the matches because I kind of forgot how early the show started, and I was still at the gym when the show started. So I was kind of like watching the matches on my phone in between like doing sets at the gym, but like kind of after this match I finally made it home.
And then we had the Congo team of Masakatsu Funaki, Kazuhiko Nakajima, and Shuji Kondo. They defeated Masa Kitamiya, Mohamed Yone, and Alejandro in 13 minutes and 14 seconds with the vertical spike from Nakajima on Yone. This was pretty good, and it was also set up like Kitamiya and Funaki brawled after the match, and that would set up a national title match later.
Yep. So I think we kind of predicted this when he beat Funaki in the N1.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to win as well, and I think it's well deserved after the run he just had in the N1. Yeah.
And up next we had
but actually, just real quick maybe on that match as well. I think because to me was also very clear that Nakajima's not in the doghouse because he got like the pin here as well.
Right, I guess, yeah, against Yone.
Well, he did against Yone, but again, if you actually want to punish him, then like, you beat him here. Like,
but the punishment might not
because Kitamiya is getting a title shot, so you can very easily defend like him pinning Nakajima.
Yeah, true.
But instead, he actually got the pin.
Yeah, although Nakajima's ultimate punishment might not be doing embarrassing jobs, but he'll just be kept out of certain main events that he could have been. I don't know.
Maybe, but again, like it's hard to like really quantify that.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, we'll see where he is in a year, I think.
Because again, the whole reason he's pissed off is because he was being kept out of main events.
Yeah. And then, so next up, the new tag team of Takashi Sugera and Satoshi Kojima defeated Shuhei Taniguchi and Yoshiki Inamura in 13 minutes and 9 seconds with a lariat from Kojima on Inamura. Paul, what's with Inamura dropping the fall here over Taniguchi? Can we read anything into this?
I mean, we've kind of been saying that they're going to do something with Taniguchi after he moved out of the Funky Express gimmick, but they haven't.
Right.
Like, he wasn't in the N1. Like, they just put him out of Funky Express, and then they pushed him a little bit, and then just kind of nothing. Like,
well, I was also thinking with Inamura, like, people think that he was kept out of the N1 because they had other plans for him, but...
Yeah, for me, it was more that because he was in the Fire Festival and I didn't want him to go for, like, back-to-back tournaments. I don't think that was because they had any plans for him, to be honest.
Okay. Well, there you go. And so, Sugera and Kojima are now a tag team, basically. We'll get to that more on later. Then Dragon Bane...
So does that mean Kojima's now in Sugera again?
I don't know. Are they doing an All Japan thing where people are just teaming with people randomly and not joining their factions? I don't know.
Maybe.
The next up, Dragon Bane defeated Alpha Wolf in 18 minutes and 20 seconds with a Poison Bane, which is a Poison Rana. I mean, if you've seen their matches, this is another Dragon Bane versus Alpha Wolf match.
Yeah.
One a little too long, though.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see actually Missy Hyatt tweeted about this match specifically?
Yes, I did. Yes.
I mean,
I
here's the
think
thing. If
most
this
of
is
her-
the first time you've seen this match, I understand her reaction. Because if this is the
think it
first time
was,
you see
yeah.
this match, you're going to love it. But the problem is that this is all they ever do when they're on Noah tours.
Well, I will say this. Missy was right about the Great Muda match.
Yes. All of her other takes were completely correct, except for this match. But again, if this is the first time she's ever seen this match, then she's also
She was
completely right
She was
in that.
basically wondering why they aren't in like AAA
Yes.
or like big on the U.S. Indies.
Yes, but if you know their reputation, then you know why they aren't.
Yeah.
And again, this is really would be my challenge for Noah. Is just like, how about putting these guys in like a match that like doesn't involve the other?
Yeah, exactly. And then we had a 8-man tag: Kazuyuki Fujita, Kendo Kashin, Hio did, Dr. Wagner Jr., and Timothy Thatcher defeated Naomichi Marufuji, Go Shiozaki, Masato Tanaka, and Masaki Mochizuki with a Fujiwara armbar on Shiozaki from Thatcher. This was really good, I thought, and Thatcher getting a big win here.
I was actually surprised about the finish as well.
It sort of makes sense because Go is taking some time off due to injury.
Yes. Once
Now,
I
wonder-
found that out, I realized, okay, that's why they did this.
But I wonder if did he injure himself in the tournament, or did he just gut it through the tournament and then was going to take time off?
I think that's the case because he did have that neck injury just before the tournament.
Yes, that's
So
right.
I feel like he basically was just like, I'm just gonna tough it out through the entire tournament and then take time off afterwards because, yeah, maybe that neck, like obviously that neck injury wasn't severe enough that he couldn't wrestle at all, but it was weird that it was basically like, oh, he had a neck injury, he's going in for evaluation, and then they just never brought it up ever again, and then he was just in the tournament. So to me, that's kind of the tip off where he might have been like, no, I'm fine, and now it's just gonna be off for like a little bit while he actually heals up.
And speaking of things in the wrestling news, I got to ask this question: has a one Paul Levesque given a call to Thatcher? Do you think he's going to give a call to Thatcher?
I don't think so. I mean, he did like him, but like, I love Thatcher, but I don't think Thatcher is kind of a. See, I don't know. I don't really think he fits on like Monday Night Raw.
No. Although I will say, I think he did better in NXT than some were expecting.
Yes. I mean, from what I've heard, he did really, really well there. But that was also like the black and gold NXT as well, and not like rainbow NXT.
Yeah.
So I don't like. Also because I don't want him to have gotten a call because I really enjoy him and Noah. So that's probably factoring in there as well.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to ask yourself, I think, any of these ex-WWE guys that got released basically under Vince, you have to wonder if they're going back.
Well, I mean, in that case, do you think Hideki Suzuki got a call from Paul Levesque?
Well, I don't know. I think Hideki would be less likely to go back if he did get that call.
Yeah.
You never know, but whatever.
I mean, Kendo Kashin is also another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get. I don't know. I don't think they're going to go back.
No.
Even if they got calls.
No, Stallion Rogers, I think probably is going back.
Yeah, if he got a call.
Yeah.
Or even Anthony Green too.
Yeah, I could see Green going as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we go to the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title. Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway defeated Eita and Kotaro Suzuki in 19 minutes and 24 seconds when Ridgway used the Ridgway clutch on Suzuki. They made their successful finally made their successful first defense. Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily quite as good as the match where they won the titles, but this was a very solid, very good match. I just love Ogawa and Ridgeway doing their thing, basically.
Yeah.
I could watch them for a long time.
Yeah. On paper, this could have been a great match, but it's also kind of given the versions of Eita and Kotaro Suzuki that we currently have. I knew that we weren't going to get a great match, but it was still like it was still very good, like very solid match. And yeah, as I said, like I also could watch like Ogawa and Ridgeway do their thing for like hours on end. And I also loved just Ogawa just endlessly like taunting Eita in the post match as well.
Mm-hmm. And also, it was Ogawa's 37th anniversary of his debut.
Is it really only 37 years? It feels longer than that. But
September 1985.
Jesus Christ. It's such a different world. Like, it's not just a different wrestling world. It's like a completely different world, basically. 1985 to now.
Yeah. Well, how many things like... I mean, his style is probably the reason why he's still so damn good at his age, right? I mean, it's low impact, technical.
When Yoshinari Ogawa made his debut, the Soviet Union still existed.
Yeah. Well, he's been through his career has been through 3 emperors?
Yeah.
Because it was still Hirohito in 1985, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because Hirohito died at the end of the 80s, right? He died in like 89, I
87
think.
or 88,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, he's one of the few people that has wrestled for like 3 emperors. Like, it's like him and Fuji at this point.
Yeah, that's right. And, well, I guess all those like Fujiwara and some of those guys. But, I mean, in terms of how, physically he's held up, I mean, he's up there, right?
Yeah,
with like him and Mochizuki.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's, I mean, I think it also helps that like those two also seem kind of like health freaks as well. Like,
well, Yoshinari, is he? I don't know. Ogawa doesn't strike me as a guy that seems like a health freak, but
I mean, if you look at his body, though, at his age, like he has to be kind of like eating like well.
Yeah.
Because like you don't keep that kind of like figure like at that age.
Yeah. For sure. Anyway, so congratulations to him. I mean, it's been quite an interesting career he's had, really.
I also feel, I think, probably solid guess that he's probably going to make it to 40 years as well as a wrestler.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then in semi-main event, we had the team of Great Muta, Great Okan, and Nosawa Rangai defeated Congo team of Keno, Manabu Soya, and Tadasuke in 22 minutes and 13 seconds with the eliminator from Okan on Tadasuke. This wasn't very good. And, I mean, it was built around spots. Muta fucked up a fireball attempt. Although at least, because originally they stopped doing mist in matches when COVID started. At least they brought that back.
Yeah. I don't think you can do a Muta match without mist. Right?
Yeah, exactly. They teased Okan like going after the GHC title from Keno, and I think this was setting up for Muta to come back to New Japan really at some point too.
I mean, they teased Okan and Keno, and then obviously Muta needs to get his heat back and just mists Okan in the face.
Yeah. So
yeah, that very clearly sets up like an Okan Muta match. But I mean, I still feel like they're going to do like something. I hope they do something with Okan and Keno, because Okan was also very clearly like disrespecting like Noah actively. Because he like stepped on the Noah symbol in the ring, like both like when he like made his entrance and then also after he got the pin in for the finish as well. So I don't know if this was like intentional or if this was like him doing his own angle, but definitely seemed like they were like teasing something there. And then, I mean, yeah, it also seemed like Great Muta versus Great Okan, and that's going to be some takes as well when Muta wins Okan.
Yes, it will. We'll see. Is that a Wrestle Kingdom match, you think?
Yeah, that's a Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah. And then in the main event, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Hideki Suzuki in 33 minutes and 23 seconds with a modified Shining Wizard to win the N1 victory for the second time, actually. I think he won in 2018.
Yeah, because that was before his 2019 title run.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this was pretty damn good. Maybe not for everyone, given like the technical match stuff that took up like the first 20 minutes, but I liked it. Now, I do have some critiques. Once again, you had a situation where Kiyomiya got dominated by another opponent before making a comeback, which is just like, it's not a bad structure, but it's always the same thing with him a lot of the time. And then you have lots of Shining Wizards towards the end, not to mention talk about him just becoming little Muto. I mean, he uses the Tiger Suplex, Suzuki pins out, and then what does Kaito do once the Tiger Suplex doesn't work, which is a move associated with Mitsuharu Misawa? Right back to those Shining Wizards, baby.
Well, to be fair, it's actually something that I realized as well, where I was like, I hope he beats him with the Tiger Driver, or the Tiger Suplex, rather. And, but then I thought about it, and I was like, well, it's not like that's his move either. Like, I think that's always been Kaito's problem, in a way, not problem, but like, the thing that's holding him back a little is like that he doesn't really have like his own signature move. Like, because before he was just doing Misawa tributes, and now he's doing Muto tributes, and we still haven't really gotten like the definitive kind of Kaito Kiyomiya move.
No, we definitely haven't, and so I mean,
you know what actually would help if he would just have a move, but he gives it his own name. Like, because obviously loads of people do like similar moves. Like, there's only like so many like moves essentially.
Yeah.
So just giving it his own, like, I would actually be fine if he uses the Shining Wizard if he gives it his own name.
Like, what would he call that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Emerald Wizard,
So like he just needs to like do something and put his own stamp on it, rather than just keep doing like Misawa like this. Like, because now, like, he was doing Misawa cosplay first, then he was doing Muto cosplay, and now he's doing kind of a mixture of them.
Well, I mean, he decided to go his own way with his look, and it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know if clown is really the way the route I would have gone. But otherwise, I thought the match was really strong, though. Like, it was kind of yet another kind of Kaito working from underneath match. But I think it worked really, really well here, because he was also facing someone that is really good at, like, just dominating someone. So I think in that case, like, it just kind of was like a really good mixture where, like, Hideki is really good at just, like, eating someone up. But I think he also, like, sold really well when he had to for Kaito. But I think Kaito was, like, this was, like, he's really good at this underneath stuff as well. Like, that's one of the reasons why he keeps doing it as well. So I thought, like, and there were multiple times, because I actually expected Hideki to win, and there were actually multiple times where I actually bought into Hideki winning the match.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
When he had him in that, like, and when he had him in that submission hold, like, in the middle of the ring, like, I was convinced, like, he was gonna, like, pass out or tap or anything. And then, like, just the way he, like, managed to, like, drag himself, like, to the ropes. Like I said, there were, like, multiple times where, like, Hideki kept adjusting the hold as well, where I was like, okay, now he's gonna tap. Okay, now he's gonna tap. And then Kaito just basically just dragged himself to the ropes by just sheer force of will. And then right after, Hideki hit that amazing double arm suplex on Kaito. Like, the height he got on that was insane.
Yes, that was an awesome looking suplex.
Because he basically, like, lifted him like higher than basically the ring post, essentially. Like, he could have, like, vaulted him, like, over the ring post if he wanted to with that. And then I thought, okay, that's gonna be the finish, because that felt incredibly definitive. And then that still wasn't the finish. And I think at that point I realized, is Kaito actually going to win this? And then, like I said, like, I just really feel like this whole, like, modified Shining Wizard, like, I really would have hoped that he would have beaten him with, like, his own move, but then I realized he doesn't have his own move.
No. That's a problem. So, we'll see. We'll talk about more coming out of this match later and everything, but I really like the N1 overall.
Yep. I don't think there was really any kind of really bad match to me. Like, there were definitely disappointing
No.
matches in there.
Yeah. But nothing was bad.
No, nothing was bad. Like, there were definitely there were also people that were disappointing as well. Like, I think Segura overall was definitely a disappointment. So I hope he was just maybe kind of like off for this tournament, and this isn't like his age actually catching up with him.
Yep.
Um,
And well, even though Segura was disappointing, we had some like unexpected performances. Like Jack Morris was an unknown quantity. Masa Kitamiya really stepped up.
Because, for example, like
And I
I would
thought-
say Kitamiya's like weakest match of the entire tournament was with Segura, but that one had one of the best finishes of the entire tournament. So
Yes. And also, I thought Funaki was pretty good,
Yeah.
all things considered.
no, they kept his like matches to like the perfect length as well. So I think he worked like, I mean, as expected, B block was, because I think early when we looked at it, we were like B block is going to be like the better block, and it ended up that way. But I think A block was still like a really solid block anyway.
Yep.
Like we said, there wasn't really anything bad, and like I would say like the worst, well, quote unquote worst person in the tournament was like Wagner, but it's not
Yeah,
like he was bad. It's just like
No,
his
it was
matches
just
were
like gentleman's three.
yeah, they were just very unmemorable essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that's the worst
Well,
thing you can say about the tournament, I think that's a really good tournament.
Now, I didn't really watch any G1 other than the semis and the finals. Did you, Paul?
Not really. I said I was gonna like go back and watch it, but at this point, probably not.
I mean, I don't think you're going to top. Nothing topped that Okada Osprey.
Yeah, no.
But I think night in, night out, the N1. Well, I mean, I didn't watch the G1, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think, given there's no Chase Owens or Toru Yanos or Bad Luck Fales. I mean, the floor was a lot higher.
Yes,
here.
absolutely. Like, because they just kind of like kept it tight. They just like very straightforward blocks as well. They did like all the block scenarios were pretty straightforward as well. Like there was like nothing.
Yeah, as long as no one got
complicated there.
knocked out.
Yeah,
accident.
yeah. But I mean, Kenya was gonna win that one, and then like you just had straight up like the two final matches is like what the block comes down to. Like you just have like a straight up decider between Kojima and Kaito, and then Keno kind of trying to go for the finish and then just failing by like losing to Fujita. Like it was all like very like solidly booked as well. Because even with to be fair, Fujita didn't really lose that many other matches, but like aside from like his silliness against Wagner, like there was also like that was really like the only kind of like black mark on the entire tournament, because we didn't really get any other shenanigans there as well. Like
No
we only
double
got one
countouts.
draw as well, and that draw made sense because it played directly into like the final standings in the tournament of the block.
Well, that's why I thought Hideki had a chance to win.
Yeah,
Because he went to that draw with Keno.
yeah.
So, yeah. Right. So that's the N1. Hopefully next year we'll have Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah.
And we can top this one.
No, I think definitely it's going to be very interesting to see who is going to be in this tournament next year. Because I'm wondering if there's people going to be like downcycled over the next year, and maybe we will actually have some of the young guys step
Mochizuki
up.
feels like one. Mochizuki, I doubt's back.
Mochizuki, I would doubt is going to be back. I'm actually curious about Segura just because of the
I
way
think Sugera's in until he's retires.
Well, the question is if he wants to be in it. Because sometimes you get people that are going to be like, that are getting a bit older, that are like, I don't want to be in this tournament anymore. It's what Akiyama did with the Champion Carnival, where he was basically like, I don't actually want to be in this tournament anymore.
Right.
So I don't know if Segura is going to be the same, so I would at least put a question mark behind
Do you
him.
think Marufuji's done?
Yeah. I don't think Marufuji wants... Like, he's definitely another guy that is like, I don't want to do tournaments anymore. Because that's really grueling on your body. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he'd rather just, like, be in 6-mans and, like, do, like, a few matches in the US where he gets overpaid by, like, indie bookers.
I watched that match.
Yeah, how was that? I heard it was, like, it went short.
So... The production and the stuff was not done well. I don't know. It was on Fight TV. Yeah, it was on Fight TV. but it seemed like they had a hard out at 10 p.m. Eastern, and the show started at 7. They even had a 15-minute intermission scheduled in the show, but they cut that in half. Unfortunately, Joey Janela hogged up a bunch of time with his match. So Marufuji versus Eddie Kingston went only 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, it was a great 7 minutes and 41 seconds. They just chopped the shit out of each other. Maybe not quite as intense as Eddie Kingston versus Ishii on the pre-show yesterday at All Out, but it was still really good. It felt like they was about to pick up to another gear, and then it just ended.
Okay. You know who actually won in the end one? Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
I would rule. Like, just have Eddie do, like, all of the Japanese tournaments. Just have him do, like, Champion Carnival, N1, G1.
He can be in the N1 and the G1 at the same time.
Yeah, you can't do those at the same time, but, you know, just have him do, like, a big Japan run now that he's, like, an actually, like, properly established name.
Yeah, would not be surprised if at some point that he ends up doing that.
Yeah, I definitely see him do, like, the G1. Unfortunately, I don't think this... Because this, like, Noah's, like, the only promotion that doesn't have a relationship with AEW, so...
Somehow. Yeah. Noah has, I don't know, maybe Nosawa and Tony Khan used to argue on message boards or something.
That's actually not super unlikely. But you know who would never shoot? You know who would never shoot on people at a press conference? Nosawa, so...
That's very true. All right, so before we preview some of Noah's upcoming show, just a word from our sponsor. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Have a packed schedule this fall? HelloFresh has meals covered with a weekly selection of 30-plus recipes and 70-plus convenience items, all delivered to your door. Enjoy the freshest fall flavors. Every HelloFresh recipe includes ripe, just-picked produce that travels from the farm to your door in less than a week. Fall is the perfect time to cozy up with some delicious sweets. Get the whole family involved with HelloFresh's limited edition kid-friendly baking kits. Honestly, the idea of kid-friendly baking kits appeals to me because I don't do a lot of baking and it can be really hard, but I will take some easy baking products to have do that in my kitchen, actually.
Yeah, no, definitely. Baking is a hard job. It's I actually come from a baker's family. So I know how hard it can be. So anything that can kind of help people out, I think, to discover the joys of baking, I think can only be a positive.
So you can go to hellofresh.com/VOW16 and use code VOW16, all one word, for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's hellofresh.com/VOW16 and use code VOW16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. So now we look into later on in September. Actually, before we do that, on the September 4th Dragon Gate show, after the semi-main event, Noah's Atsushi Katoga, Yohei, Seki Yoshioka, and Alejandra came out and sort of got involved in the ring. And Yoshioka challenged Yamato, while Alejandro challenged Dragon Kid, and Yohei challenged against KZ. Paul, you are also a Dragon Gate watcher. What did you think of this?
I mean, we kind of need to start covering Dragon Gate soon, given how much Noah involvement we have there at this point. Yeah, so this actually, and because that was later announced then on the Dragon Gate English Twitter, this is actually going to lead to an actual full joint show. So this isn't just going to be kind of another case of Dragon Gate wrestlers being on an innovation show. In this case, they're actually going to do like a full joint show. We haven't really gotten any details for that show yet.
Now, is this going to be in around Osaka or Kobe?
I would assume so, but I also think maybe they're going to do that in Korakuen. Is what I'm thinking maybe, where because they're running like the N innovation shows in like smaller venues generally. So I would maybe say that like if they do, like it depends what they're really going to do for this joint show and how big they want it to be. Because if it's just like a bunch of random like multi-man matches, then probably they're gonna go for a smaller venue. But if we actually get like proper title matches on this, then I think they could definitely try for like a bigger venue as well. So I'm definitely excited. Like I like the N innovation shows well enough, but I think like an actual proper joint show between these two promotions could be really interesting.
Okay, just looking at the 3 matches they set up, this looks like Noah will lose all of them. Like Yoshioka is not going to beat Yamato, Alejandro's not going to beat Dragon Kid, and Yohei's probably not going to beat KZ.
See, here's the interesting part though. So Yohei has a title match coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he wins that, they could make that a title match. And in that case, I think Yohei is winning. KZ is also a guy that can, like KZ is like, yeah, he's a top guy, but he's also a top guy that can lose.
But that's his thing. He's lost all the big ones, right?
So it just continues that story. So that actually makes sense for him to lose. The other interesting part is because Yoshioka challenged Yamato, it actually means that it's going to be a while until the show actually happens, because Yamato is actually going to the US for a bit.
Right. So this is probably not happening until like November at the earliest.
Yeah, right? Like because now they need to wait until Yamato is back. Which is interesting because I would have assumed that they were gonna do it while like people like Yamato are like away, so that they can like basically do like a joint show with Noah to like fill some spots on the roster. But because this was one of the challenges, like now they need to wait until he's back. What I'm wondering as well, and because this might be another title match, because Yoshioka and Katoge are challenging for the junior tag titles. So I'm wondering maybe if they make the Yoshioka Yamato match a tag title, like a tag match, and then have that be a tag title match as well.
Right. Very.
So there's definitely a lot of interesting possibilities. So like I'm not trying to overhype myself, because joint shows can sometimes be disappointing. Like I'm just pointing towards the regular 0-1 Big Japan joint shows, which are awful. Like it's actually
drawing like 80
yes,
people.
Exactly. It's genuinely when I went on the Japan trip in 2019, when I went there with a bunch of other Voices of Wrestling people, we pretty much went to a wrestling show like almost every day, except for when like the only show that night was a Big Japan 0-1 joint show in Shinkiba, where I rather went to watch the Tokyo Giants in the Tokyo Dome rather than go and watch that show, because we just looked at the card and like everyone else was like, no, you know what, I'd rather just do something else this evening, and we all skipped on the show because there was just absolutely nothing on it. So I hope it's not going to be that. I hope it's actually like a genuine like effort to like make a good show.
Okay. So we'll look ahead to the big Noah show on the 25th. But before that, on September 15th at Korakuen Hall, Noah has a rookie debuting. Daiji Ozawa will debut against Yoshiki Inamura. And according to Hisame on Twitter, Ozawa is a heavyweight, which is a very good thing.
Definitely. Because really, like, if we look at like the people that they've debuted recently, and yes, Noah heavyweights are a little bit smaller than in other promotions, they needed like a proper big heavyweight. Because really, since Inamura, like, they've been like very small. Like, Okada is a heavyweight, but he's borderline, and Fujimura definitely isn't, and neither is Yano.
Yano's
Yano's really small. Like, he's definitely going to be a career junior. So yeah, like they really were like long overdue, and it's also been nearly 2 years since they've actually debuted a rookie as well.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Yano, he will be returning on an N Innovation show in September as well. So that's good for the junior division.
I mean,
Noah.
Do you think it was kind of weird that they just brought like Kai Fujimura back with like no fanfare really? Like he's just back and he's teaming with Stinger. Where
was he?
Wasn't he? They not?
It was Junta that went overseas, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, true. It wasn't. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about Junta. Yeah, Junta was the one that went overseas. Yeah, true. Sorry, I kind of got confused.
He's teaming with like all the Dragon Gate guys in Mexico.
Yeah, true. It was Junta that actually went overseas. But
I actually haven't watched
Fujimura also went on like a brief excursion? Yeah. Or am I confusing that?
I don't think so.
Never mind then. No. Okay, never mind.
And so that's on the 21st, the Yasutaka Yano return match against Kai Fujimura on the Innovation Show at Shinjuku Face. So
yeah, I'm actually interested to see if he gets like, if they're doing something, but it seems like he's just mainly going to be in the same spot he was in before.
I like Yano a lot though, so hopefully they do something with him eventually.
Well, he's still young.
So
with him, there's still time.
Yeah. So the big show is on September 25th at Aichi Prefectural Gymnasium. So the opening match will be Manon Busoya versus the aforementioned Daiji Ozawa. That could be a lot of fun. Ozawa's facing all of the beefy boys early on in his career.
I mean, he is 183, like in terms of height.
Oh, okay.
So he is
yeah.
a pretty tall boy. And I don't remember his weight, but I think he is actually like kind of a bit of a like beefy boy as well. So yeah,
cool.
I'm definitely looking forward to what he can do. And yeah, just based on his first two matches, that's clearly how they're positioning him as well.
And then we have Nosawa Rongai, Eita, and Kotaro Suzuki versus Yuya Susumu, Yasutaka Yano, and Kai Fujimura. And then Mohamed Yone and Akitoshi Saito versus Masa Kitamiya and Yoshiki Inamura. Then Ninja Mac, Extreme Tiger, and Alejandro versus Tadasuke Hajime Ohara and Hiroki. Naomichi Amara Fuji, Jack Morris, and Hiho to Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Masato Tanaka, Masaki Mochizuki, and Daiki Inaba.
Isn't it weird that they basically announced Jack Morris and Inaba are a team, and then they put them against each other?
Yeah, but they're teaming on other shows.
True, but still, it's kind of a weird decision.
But if it is indeed Kendo Kashin booking the heavyweights now, he has basically blown up all the factional alignments. Yeah. Because I mean, before they were a lot more like rigid.
Yeah, no, they've definitely gotten a lot more fluid now. Yeah. I mean, is MC Alliance still a thing? Because I know they disbanded.
No, they broke up a while ago.
They disbanded, but then I remember Marufuji and Mochizuki were giving an interview basically being like, no, it's kind of back, but not really. Like, I don't remember what the alignment chart looks like right now.
Apparently not. And then for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway versus Atsushi Katoge and Seki Yoshioka. I think you've made a good case why there might be a title change here, but honestly, I just want to see Ogawa and Ridgway. Same.
I do want him to have like a proper long reign and actually get like good title defenses. It really depends what they're going to do on the joint show. So if it is actually going to be a singles match between Yoshioka and Yamato, then I think Ridgway and Ogawa keeping the titles here.
And then for the GHC tag team title, we have the champions Hideki Suzuki and Timothy Thatcher facing Takashi Sugiura and Satoshi Kojima. I don't see why they should drop the titles.
Yeah, same. I think they should just defend the titles here. I mean, this is a pretty good...
Could it be also a thing that you're like, we want to put the tag titles on Kojima thing?
I guess, but I don't know. I think, to me, it's better to like keep them on Suzuki and Thatcher. Because, I don't know.
Well, Kojima has never won the GHC tag team titles, but he's won all the other major tag team titles.
I guess, but like it's kind of like, because it's kind of a random partner with Segura as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really get why you would do a title change here again, because you just had like a bunch of like really short tag title reigns as well. Because
so
basically
since
Muto had to give it up because of his injury, right? You had the Seguragan team win it, who then lost it pretty quickly to Elgin and Kitamiya, who then lost it pretty quickly to Thatcher and Suzuki. So why do like another quickie title reign here?
Yeah, for sure. And then for the GHC Junior Heavyweight title, Hayata versus Yohei. I think you've made... I mean, I just want to see Hayata lose this title. And you made a good point, like put the title on Yohei and have him go into the Dragon Gate joint show.
I mean, the thing is, though, right, so he beats Hayata here, and then he defends it against KZ at the joint show, and then he probably loses his right back to Hayata. Where I'm like, I don't know, kind of like doom-pilled when it comes to the junior heavyweight title right now, where I'm just like, it's just going to be in this Hayata orbit forever. We're just going to have to see Hayata junior title matches until like the end of time, basically, is what it feels like right now. We just can't escape his orbit ever.
And then so in the match titled Pro Wrestling Love Forever 2 Outbreak, Keiji Muto and Kazuyuki Fujita will face Masakatsu Funaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima. We sort of talked about this before, but it's obvious who's taking the fall here.
It's obviously going to be Nakajima, unless he like knocks out Muto. Oh my god, could you imagine if he actually knocks out Muto and just...
He would get punished for sure.
How many people does he need to injure until he gets punished?
Yeah.
So, no, in that case, like, he just ruins the Muto retirement. No, but I think it's very clear that he's going to, like, take the fall here. So...
But do you think it's Muto that actually beats him?
I mean... Yeah.
Or do you think it'll be Fujita?
No, I think it's going to be Muto. Like, he's going to eat a Shining Wizard and just lie down. But again, like, to me, it's not a punishment to be in a massive semi-main event. Even if you're the one taking the fall. That's not a punishment at all.
Right. And then in the main event for the GHC Heavyweight Championship, Kano defends against the N1 victory winner, Kaito Kiyomiya. Paul, I know that the GHC title's been bouncing around a lot, but I think here you just got to go with Kaito and just have him give him a year-long reign.
I was also like, would be kind of weird because they're also building up, because they've also kind of built up title matches for Kano. That's the only thing that gives me pause because Fujita, I think, still has a shot at the title.
And they seem to be, and Kano seems to be he's vibing right now. Like he just feels like a great champion.
No, definitely. Like I said, they did. Fujita still, he beat him, so he could get a title shot. They teased that thing with Okan as well, so that's the thing that gives me pause. But Kaito is clearly the guy with the momentum right now. You just need to pull the trigger on him, give him the title for the second time, and then just see what happens, see if he can draw, and see if he's really the future of the promotion, because I think now is the time to find that out.
Yeah. And you could have Keno win it back later. I mean, I think these two have had some of the best matches in No over the past couple of years, and they're great rivals, so, you can have Keno come back and win the title from him later.
I mean, could you still see a thing where he beats Kaito here, runs for all of the setup matches in the fall, and then they run this back at Budokan? Do you think that hurts Kaito's momentum too much?
Sort of, but it also just seems strange. It just seems like a quick turnaround to run that again.
That's the other thing as well. So that's why I feel like Kaito needs to win here.
I mean, what other matches do they have for Budokan though?
I mean, not just Budokan. They also still need to fill the Ariake Arena, because that's massive.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Because they were also teasing a Keno and a Keno title defense against Muta as well.
Right. I don't know. I mean, Ariake could be Keno versus Fujita if Keno does win. I could see that.
I don't know if I would put Fujita in a main event for a show that big. It just isn't a draw.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to me, the smart play here is to just put it on Kaito and then just see if Kaito can draw numbers in these big buildings.
Yeah, for sure. You just got to do it.
No.
It's time. He's been damaged too much already.
It's put up or shut up, basically. It's it's time to see if Kaito can actually be the ace of the company. And he just, that's really the thing that I said, that's still my issue with him, is he's very clearly incredibly talented, but he just, needs to take a fucking situation by the balls and just fucking own it.
Yep. And so that's Pro Wrestling Noah. We move on to the big preview of All Japan Pro Wrestling's 50th anniversary show at Nippon Budokan, which in recent days the card has been changed slightly. So here is the most recent card as of September 6th. Your All Japan 50th Anniversary Special 6-Man Tag Team Match. Masanobu Fuchi, Atsushi Onita, and Shiro Koshinaka versus Great Kojika, Yoshiaki Yatsu, and Masao Inoue. And Kohei Wada is a special guest referee, as far as I know.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten an
I hope
update
he's at a
on him,
hospital.
right?
No. But I expect the Fuchi team to win this.
I mean, probably. I mean, to be honest, it
Inoue
doesn't matter.
eats a big fat
Yeah.
L.
I mean, the thing is, who gets the pin, I guess? Fuji, I guess?
Onita?
Yeah, Onita. Onita is the biggest star, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the Saito brothers triumphant return match, which has been changed up because of Ayabe's collapsed lung. So it's Jun Saito, Rei Saito, and Cyrus versus Shuji Ishikawa, Kohei Sato, and now DDT's Yukio
Such
Naya.
a random person to get.
Well, they just needed a
I
tall
guess,
guy.
but it's still like that. It's also a DDT guy specifically, and that it's him specifically. Like, I don't know.
Well, how many other very large, tall guys are there that they could just get?
Yeah, there aren't. Well, to be fair, there aren't really that many people. I mean, Yuji Hino, because he at least has like a history.
He's not tall.
Yeah, he's not tall, but he's beefy.
Yeah.
Kojika's tall.
Yes.
But no, I mean, yeah, it is kind of random. I mean, it's not really like an improvement either, to be honest. Like, Naya has improved, but he's still not that great. So, yeah, I'm going to be really curious what this match is going to be like.
I think that the Saitos are eating a pin here.
Yeah, that's the other thing, because Ayabe clearly was like losing previously, but now I'm not so sure anymore if DDT is just going to be like, oh yeah, sure, you can get Naya, but if he's eating the pin.
Or does the Booker man fall on his sword for the rookies?
Or for Cyrus.
Yeah, since he seems to love
Yeah.
Cyrus so much.
Like, I could see that happen. And like, I think it's very easy to say that Sato isn't taking the pin.
No, definitely not.
Like, him and Cyrus are like the only people I could see, are the only two people I feel very confident saying aren't going to take the pin here, regardless of who wins.
Yeah, definitely. So we move on to Rising Hayato and Ryo Inoue versus Yusuke Kodama and Oji Shiba. I don't know. I could see actually Hayato and Inoue winning this because Shiba is sort of like a jobber.
No, I could definitely see that happening. Because especially the push, I think Hayato is probably going to get a title shot as well. So
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it makes a lot of sense for him to win here.
And then Yoshitatsu, Tajiri, Mitsuya Nagai, and ATM versus Izanagi, Black Mensa Ray, Sushi, and Andy Wu. I'm going to go with the Yoshitatsu team because ATM
Yes,
is
I
on
think
it.
ATM is going to get, and that's going to be his big payoff for probably financing a good portion of the show.
Well, I will get to that in a minute because there's something very interesting about one of the sponsors of the show. For the All Asia Tag Team title, it will be Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura challenging the winner of Minoru and Toshizo versus Soma Watanabe and Yu Yuzuka in Great on September 10th. And I assume Minoru and Toshizo are going to
I
retain.
would assume as much as well. I actually would prefer if you and Soma win because I think that's a better match. But yeah, I assume it's going to be Minoru and Toshizo.
Yeah, but Sato and Dan got to get their revenge
Yeah,
against
true.
Voodoo Murders. And I expect Sato and Dan to win.
So do you think maybe
titles
Dan is
here.
actually getting the pin here?
He should.
Because he's just been obviously been beaten to shit by Voodoo Murderers. So I think it's really time for him to get one up on them and get a pin here.
Yep, definitely. Because I think Voodoo Murders are falling apart
Yeah, they should be.
after
Hopefully.
this show, hopefully. Special singles match, Hokuto Omori versus Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki wins.
No, I think that's very safe to say. And I think I talked about it before. Like, I don't really mind Omori losing here because he's just moving up to heavyweight. So I think it's fine for him to lose here.
It's funny. For reasons I will get into in a moment, I was watching some Samurai TV today, and they had randomly the came on was the Etsuki Aoki Memorial Show from July 2020. And it's sort of fascinating to see how much mass Omori has put on in 2 years.
Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely beefed up. So that was always to me like, oh, is he going to go heavyweight? Because he put on a lot of mass.
Yeah. And a special singles match, Yuma Aoyagi and goes through the Forbidden Door and faces Christopher Daniels. I mean, it's well known that, a lot of AEW talent can't just do jobs outside, although it's not that it never happens. But it's incredibly stupid if you bring Christopher Daniels all the way over to face Yuma and just have Yuma lose.
He should take the pin here because of him failing in his talent relations job and just losing control of the locker room.
That's very true. I mean, I think it shouldn't be impossible to have Yuma win here and then Daniels win on the Korakuen the next day.
Yeah, you can just give him like a win at like a 6-man or whatever. Like if I'm All Japan, like, yeah, I like having an AEW guy, but not if it comes at the expense of like the big young star that they're trying to make a main eventer.
Well, Shuji Kondo has disappeared from All Japan again,
that's why I'm hoping that maybe they fucking learned a lesson.
I'm still leaning towards Yuma.
Yeah, I am leaning towards Yuma, but
because it is Christopher
exactly.
Daniels.
That's
it's
the
not
other thing.
Swerve Strickland or something. And then Yuma Anzai debut match, Yuji Nagata versus Yuma Anzai. Perfect first opponent, and it should be a lot of fun.
Really curious,
and of course Nagata wins.
They are really hyping this guy up.
Paul, have you noticed that all of these wrestlers are saying how handsome Anzai is in their tweets?
They very clearly think they have a potential ace here.
Yep. I think they do. Oh, well, I mean, we'll see
exactly.
What he looks like. He looks like a potential ace.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seems like they have a potential ace here, but I've literally never seen him wrestle. But based on his looks and what everyone is saying, like
everyone's saying how handsome he is on Twitter.
And also, like, if this is because we don't really know the match order yet, right? But this is kind of relatively far up the card. Like, I'm wondering, are they gonna like give him a rocket push? Not to like Triple Crown level or whatever, but is he probably gonna get like something to like sink his teeth in a lot quicker than other rookies have gotten?
I could see him being in the Champion Carnival next year.
Depending on, I mean, yeah, maybe let's see what he actually looks like in a match first.
But I mean, I could see him being in the Champion Carnival next year and getting like 2 wins, and I don't think that hurts him at all.
That's perfectly fine. Like that's already a massive achievement to be like in the Champion Carnival like 6 months after you make your debut. Yeah.
And then for the PWF World Junior Heavyweight Championship, Tiger Mask versus Etsuki Aoyagi. This better be Aoyagi's big moment.
Yeah.
And the dawn of a new era in the junior division.
Yeah, it better
and get Tiger Mask.
Like this just has to be the crowning of Atsuki Aoyagi. Like, don't think anything else here is really acceptable. Like everything else is just
absolutely not
stupid booking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then for the World Tag Team Championships, Gunyira of Anarchy, Shotaro Ashino, and Ryuki Honda defend against Get Wild, Takao Omori and Manabu Soya. So Jun Akiyama was not Takao Omori's mystery partner, but it's Manabu Soya. They put out a video of them in the woods together.
Did you see
recently.
that? Well, they weren't even in the woods. They were just in a random park somewhere in Tokyo, I think.
Oh, okay.
So the long storied history of just shooting random videos of wrestlers walking through a park is still alive. It's actually I watched that video. It was actually kind of funny because I think they basically played it off that like that Omori showed up in the park at like 9 a.m. or whatever, and then they cut to like 1 p.m. and that's when Soya finally showed up. So you just made him wait in the park for like hours.
Paul, do Ashino and Honda retain here?
They should.
I'm leaning towards it, and they should, but I could also see them doing the nostalgia thing for Omori.
No, because I don't think Soya is really because Soya is like very solidly like he's busy with not that he really does anything of note, but he's just like he's booked on every show. Yeah. So that to me, like I think Honda and Ashino are gonna defend the title here.
Yeah, I mean I'm leaning towards it, but can't call it impossible.
I don't think it's impossible, but to me, the fact that like Soya is just like on a full-time schedule with Noah, like doesn't really have time to do All Japan.
Yeah, for sure. Because if he wins, he's got to be in the real
Yeah,
world.
exactly. Like I don't think Noah wants to like give him up for like an entire like tournament run.
And then a special singles match finally confirmed after, unfortunately, Doring had to pull out, but they've now announced it. Jake Lee versus Naoya Nomura. Nomura's got to win here and challenge Kento.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's really the only path to take. We've talked plenty about Jake Lee recently, and you know it's been over 3 years now. Oh, it'll be 3 years this month since the last time Kento and Nomura had a singles match. So by Kento Miyahara standards, it's about as fresh as a match you can do, because he, like earlier this year, he had like he was a Triple Crown champion. He already faced Shuji Ishikawa at Champions Night 3. Like a lot of like Kento winning the Triple Crown back so soon creates the problem of you need fresher challengers again.
Yep.
And so, you know, Nomura is now a fresh challenger.
Yeah, and you literally just had a Jake Lee versus Kento match. And you also literally just sold a Kento versus Jake Lee Triple Crown match as the last kind of match between them. So you can't just immediately run this back yet again. Like that just would be like absolutely like I also have a feeling that I probably would not draw well, because like if I'm in Japan, I'm going to be like, why would I pay money for this? I just saw this twice.
Yeah, exactly. And then a main event for the Triple Crown, Suwama defends against Kento Miyahara. Paul, I still think these guys have chemistry, and I thought their match in the Champion Carnival 30-minute draw was good. But like, and we've talked about how Voodoo Murder seemed to have dialed back some of the cheating and stuff. But what do you think here? Like, do you think they'll just go have their match, or do you think Suwama's going to do some shit?
I think we're going to get at least a little bit of it, but I think it's going to be a straightforward match otherwise. I think maybe we get some stuff early on, but I don't think it's going to be a focus of the match. Like, I think it's going to be a straightforward match for the most part. Because it's the 50th anniversary. I mean, it's Budokan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you
don't
can't.
Do any stupid shit. No ref pulls out of the ring or anything like that.
Like, that's why I think it's going to be a straightforward match. Like, they're just going to do, like, a little bit where, I don't know, like, he probably gets, like, a weapon or something. But I don't think we're even going to see, like, the other voodoo murderers, like, get involved or something like that, hopefully.
And, Paul, do you think they're going to start running through moves of all famous All Japan wrestlers of the past in this?
I could see them do, like, some of them at the very least, yeah. I mean...
So, like... Miyahara does a Tiger Driver or something?
I could see that actually like happen like all throughout the show like a bit. Like, I could see that for the Jake Lee Naoya Nomura match a bit as well. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I could see Kento like try and pull out like a Tiger Driver. I mean, my question is, are we going to see a Burning Hammer?
Well, we might from Nomura.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that might be the finish for that one, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that actually would be really cool.
Yeah, and Kento obviously wins.
No, I think like it's like I would put the chance of Suwama winning at like 1%, and I think that's being very generous. Yes, like there's just no justification for having Suwama win here.
The only way Suwama wins if he pulls a Nakajima.
He knocks him out. And what if he literally pulls out Nakajima? Fucking Nakajima runs in and costs Kento the match and joins Voodoo Murderers.
That would be some nuclear heat.
That would be some nuclear heat from me. That would be some nuclear heat from Kento Miyahara. In that case, Kento might go back in the fucking post-match interview. He might start shooting on people. Okay, in that case, if we have a backstage brawl breaking out in All Japan, who is biting who? Because I think Nakajima would throw a chair, but then I'm not sure. Is Soya biting someone?
Well, see, I would have told you if this was 2 years ago, it would have been Yusuke Okada and Tajiri or something.
Yeah, that I could definitely see happening. But yeah, maybe Soya bites Ishikawa or something.
Yes. So that is that. Still nothing has been announced except for the participants on the Korakuen Hall show the next day on the 19th. Koji Dora and Kuma Rashi return, and Christopher Daniels will also be on that show. And I think Minoru Suzuki is also on that show, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure.
Also in the Budokan, we know that like Stan Hansen and Keiji Muto will appear as well.
Yeah, Keiji Muto will be a special guest. He's not wrestling, but still no Jun Akiyama.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Even though Yuji Nagata is working his 30th anniversary show several hours before. So, very special note. That was somewhat disappointing when I learned it. This will not be airing live on AGPW.TV. This will be airing live on BSN TV, which is the broadcast satellite channel of NTV, from 7 o'clock p.m. Japan Standard Time, even though the show starts at 4:30. And the show will then be available on All Japan or AGPW.TV on September 22nd at 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Paul, let's just say I had taken some nefarious means. So like I said, I was watching Samurai TV earlier. So I will be watching the BSN TV show live.
Yeah, I might need to like hook me up there as well. So we'll see how that goes. Like the thing for me is that I'm going to be in Ireland, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to watch live. So I mean, we might either have to delay the recording a bit or try and figure something out.
Well, I mean, I'm going to watch live, but I mean, we're not going to come and record the show until we can see the whole show.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yeah.
Because we're not even going to be able to see the whole show, even if you watch live. I mean, I need to know what happens with ATM and Yoshitatsu, and it would not shock me if that does not make the live broadcast. What I think would be curious, though, if Yuma Anzai makes the live broadcast.
I have a feeling as well, because just looking at this, like, I don't know if this is like the official announced match order, but
no, it's not.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually put that in the second half of the show and maybe actually have that open the BSN TV broadcast is Yuji Nagata and Yuma Anzai.
So I figure the Triple Crown and all the special single matches will be, and the World Tag will be live. I'm not so I would assume the junior title.
Yeah.
I don't know how long their block is, though.
I mean, this show starts at what time?
4:30.
That's a long time. I mean, you're probably going to do like some ceremonies and everything.
Yeah.
But that's still like those early matches.
There might be a ceremony.
Super long.
The ceremony might be saved till 7 o'clock. I don't know if that All Asia Tag Title match is making it live.
Pretty confident it's not.
And then Rising Hayato and Inoue versus Kodama and Shiba. The 50th anniversary special 6-man, probably?
I mean, the Saito brothers return match? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the show does start with the ceremony and then most of the show's matches do make it live.
Yeah, I have a feeling maybe they do like a lot of like big ceremonial stuff early on and then do the matches afterwards.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's kind of unfortunate. Although, at least in this case, you know, unlike what Bushi Road promotions have been doing more and more, they're not trying to get like a pay-per-view out of us or anything like that.
So, yeah, it is going to be on All Japan TV, so we can at least watch the full show. Yeah.
See the whole show. Now, I'm kind of curious, though, like, is NTV going to give them a nice, full-blown, like, nice production, I hope?
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, is that actually what we're going to get then on All Japan TV, or is there going to be a separate recording that is going to be the All Japan TV feed?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and I forgot to mention, okay, so the sponsor of this show, or the main sponsor on the poster, is Rakuten Ticket. Now, Rakuten is, I'm not sure if it's perfectly analogous, but has been called, quote-unquote, the Amazon of Japan. Massive. They're massive. Now, Paul, do you think this is a beginning of a budding relationship between Rakuten and All Japan?
Yeah.
Who, might I add, in 2019 have launched a sports streaming.
They have their own streaming service. There is actually like an international service as well, like where you can actually like buy, like where you can like rent movies. Basically, it's because I have a Roku, and my Roku actually has a Rakuten TV like button on it.
Yeah.
So definitely that would be something big if they can actually turn that into like a proper relationship. So
Well, I mean, Rakuten could just buy All Japan and it would be a small line item and they could just have content for their sports streaming service.
I mean, that probably would
Which
be
is what I was ultimately
that
getting
would be
at.
an interesting one, yeah.
Because, like, why not get in? I mean, presumably they are somewhat a competitor of Cyber Agent or Abema,
Yeah.
right?
I'm actually curious.
Because I know that Rakuten also, much like a Cyber Agent, also has like internet ads and stuff like that service. So I mean, why not get into the game like Cyber Agent did?
Yeah. I'm actually
Plus
curious who's actually bigger.
Plus, you also get a women's promotion.
Yeah,
with it,
I'm actually
possibly.
curious who's bigger is because I think Rakuten is actually bigger than WWE as well.
Probably is, yeah. I think Rakuten might even be bigger
Yeah.
than Cyber Agent, just because they're like a marketplace and they offer financial services.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
they
like
have
it's like a
streaming
proper
channels.
like, and they're also like the sponsor for like Barcelona and yeah.
Yeah.
No, they are massive. Oh yeah, they had a revenue of 7.2 billion. Yeah, no, they're definitely bigger than WWE. Holy shit.
Yeah. So I mean, just an interesting relationship. I don't know if it goes anywhere. They're just sponsoring this for they, like I said, they have, it's Rakuten Ticket. They have a ticket service. But still, it's just an interesting tie-up, and I want to see if anything goes from that there, because that could be a big game changer for All Japan.
No, that definitely would be a massive deal for All Japan. Because I think should probably like say what we like think about, like, because we don't really know what the finances are for All Japan, but like sometimes there's like some sort of doom and gloom where it's like, oh, All Japan is just about, like, anytime they draw a bad number, it's like, oh, is All Japan gonna go out of business? Like, no. Like, I think they're in a stable position right now financially, but their problem is that they can't really grow with the current setup that they have.
No, and well, I mean, I assume at some point that movie money is going to run out, unless President Fukuda starts investing in more movies, which he is possibly also doing. I mean, like, he comes from real estate, so he's probably got deep pockets.
Yeah, but again, it's
So-
clear that it's not like he's willing to like keep it stable, but I don't think he's really willing to like invest big money into it.
To grow it, because you need Rakuten money
Yeah,
if you want to
exactly.
grow it. I mean, look how fast Stardom grew with just the Bushiroad promotional thing behind it. And even Noah
Yes,
has
they have
grown
grown.
since
They
Cyber
have,
Agent
they
taken
have.
over.
Because
yeah.
because before they were literally about to go out of business. So
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying, it's a legacy IP. I think it would make a lot of sense for Rakuten just to buy the company.
yeah, no, I think that actually would make a ton of sense. I think definitely put them on the streaming service and everything. I think that would make a ton of sense, especially if that means maybe I can actually watch it from my Roku. That would actually be very convenient.
Yeah. All right, so that is it. We will come back when we can see the whole show, and I think it'll be a good show,
Yeah, I think overall, like,
as long as they don't do any stupid
yeah,
booking.
that's the thing. Like, I think top to bottom, like, like I said, I was a little bit down on the show overall, but like it seems like an incredibly solid card, and I think if certain matches deliver, then I think it could be a really, really good show.
Yeah. And hopefully we will come back here and talking about a Wild Cork and Hall show that has totally changed the direction of the company. Because they got to sort of do that on that show.
The weird
right?
part is then, though, we're not
It has
even
to
going to be able to see the full show until after that Hurricane.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's airing live on agpw.tv. But like, seriously, like, you think that they remember, like, it has to be wilder than a New Japan New Year's Dash, if you ask me. It has to be like one of those shows where there's an angle after every match. I mean, that's just my opinion, because they need to do a reset after this and get Voodoo Murders out of there.
And I mean, they have been doing like a lot of angles, like, well, not recently, but
so-
like previously, like.
Yeah. It was like All Japan is Raw.
I mean, to be
basically.
fair, I would assume that we would have gotten some sort of angle with Nomura anyway on the show. Like, it's just that now he's actually going to be on the Budokan show. But I always expected him to be on the Korakuen.
For sure. And so, so hopefully, we will be, when we're back, we'll be talking about a very changed company.
And hopefully the Korakuen will have cheering. Now that New Japan had a cheering show in Korakuen.
I don't know, because they've already put tickets on sale, and the tickets for that Korakuen have actually moved pretty decently. So I don't know if they can have for cheering or not. So we'll see. All right. So that's everything for this week. We will be back again probably after the 22nd to talk about all of this, all of these happenings. So for Paul Vosh, I'm Gerard DiTrollo, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.